how y'all doing? This is Pete over at D.I.Y. Auto School, and what we're going to go over is what it costs to paint a car or a pickup truck. Now we're going to focus on a car because actually pickup trucks cost more money to do than cars do. So you're probably asking why. Well, an old truck is consisted of the word work. Am I right, meaning the body shop girl?
Usually.
Okay, so when you got an old truck and you want to restore it, it's going to have more rust on it, it's going to have more filth, it's going to have more dirt. I've actually had trucks in my shop that sandblasting wouldn't remove the undercoating and all of the grime and the filth on the framework. We got Minnie the body shop girl behind the camera. We're actually getting ready to go outside and work, but a lot of questions have arose on how much does it cost to paint a car? Well, in reality, it's all about how much money you have in your pocket, what kind of vehicle we're working on, and how much damage, you might say, is to the vehicle in question. So there's a lot of aspects and a lot of pointers and takers and givers that give us to the situation and lead us to the situation to find the solution of actually how much it costs to paint a car. Am I right?
Variables. That's the word you were looking for.
Variables. There you go. So we're looking at around a variety is what we're looking at. Variety. Okay? You know, when you got variety, okay, now we're talking candy apple paint. Does that make sense? See, we're talking candy apples now, and we're talking metal flakes, and then we're talking solid color paint. Okay? You know, let's talk about red.
Prices.
Let's talk about red.
Most expensive.
Okay? Red is the most expensive paint, but then on the other hand, red is expensive, but then on the other hand, we got yellow. You're going to spend just as much on yellow paint as you would on red paint because you have to put 2 to 3 times more yellow paint on that object to cover. Whereas you would use 2 full wet coats of red, it would take you 3 to 4, possibly 5 coats of yellow to cover to get that high quality paint job that you want. So then you get into the variety or the variables of, well, we're painting yellow here and it takes 3 times longer to paint yellow than it does red. We're going to go outside, we're going to look at a couple cars, we're going to go over them, and then we're going to see how much it actually costs to paint a car.
Welcome to D.I.Y. Automotive School with my friend Pete and Minnie, the body shop girl. It's everything you need to know about cars and more.
Okay, so we're out here in our shop. Now we have several cars that we're going to look at, and we're going to give you several different angles on how much it costs to paint a car. Now if you're looking at let's say a newer car, and when I say newer, I'm talking 80s, mid-80s up, okay, or now, I mean, we're in what, 2020 here, so let's go ahead and we'll talk about, if you're talking about a newer car, we're going to talk about, let's say, mid-90s up, all right? It's going to be depending on how much money the shop wants to charge you. Now, when you go into a shop, and let's say you have a 1995 Dodge truck, okay? 90% of all shops like mine or collision repair shops are not going to want to paint your 1995 Dodge truck. First of all, there's going to be a lot of work involved in it. There's not going to be any money to be made. So the first thing they're going to tell you is an outrageously high, expensive price to paint your old junky truck.
First off, let me just.
Okay, hold on a second. Hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second, please. Okay, we got Minnie the body shop girl today. How you doing? Go ahead and butt in.
Okay, I'm gonna butt in. Okay, Pete's talking about shops like ours versus collision shops. Now, collision
Well, I
shops.
didn't say that, but go ahead.
Well, you did.
I just added collision shops in.
You did say both.
Okay.
Shops like ours.
All right.
And then there are collision shops like.
Okay, hold on 1 second. Can you stand over here? The light's not really hitting good. Okay, right here. Stand right here, please. Okay, the light wasn't hitting you too good. Okay, there you go, right there. Okay, that's not working. Okay, there you go, right there. Okay, now look at me over here. Right there. Okay, now, what were you saying? Minnie the body shop girl, go ahead.
Most collision shops, in example, like Service King,
Right.
they don't do restoration works. They're not going to do an overall paint job on a car.
That's what I was trying to explain. That's what I was saying.
So if you take your car in there, they're going to give you an outrageous price because they don't intend to do it at all, period. They don't do that kind of work. They are a collision shop.
That's right.
They do wrecks.
But if you are stupid enough to pay that price, I'm sure.
They're not going to do it, Pete.
Okay.
They're not even going to do it. Collision King would not do an overall paint job.
Well,
I guarantee
Service King
it.
might. But let's say you go into a shop like mine, for instance.
Yeah.
Okay, let's say you go into a shop like mine, but they don't really specialize in classic cars. They do collision work. Okay, and they need the business. They're going to say, yes, we can do that, but we're going to charge you, okay, we're going to charge you a lot of money to do that job.
Yeah.
And if you're stupid enough to pay that price, then that's how much you're going to pay for it.
They're basing their price, they're pricing the job like they would a collision job. You know?
Yeah.
Hours to do, how many hours to fix this dent, how many hours to fix, they're trying to use the Mitchell manual.
Right.
To do, you know, we don't have anything.
To do a scuff and paint job on a 1995 Chevy.
Exactly, which there is nothing in the Mitchell manual to do that,
To paint
to
the whole
tell
truck.
them
Got it.
how to do that. So they're trying to figure it out by using that formula.
Okay. Thank you, Minnie the body shop. Okay, so you got her angle on it. Let me go ahead and spit my angle out to you. Can I go ahead and do that? Do a little spitballing here? Okay, so what we got here is we got this guy that's got a 95 Chevy truck. He brings it to a shop like mine that does collision work and also overall paint jobs. But he looks at your truck and he says, you know what, buddy? You got this dent, this dent, this dent. Look what we got over here. We got to do this. We got to do that. By the time you get done, we're going to be spending $14,000 to paint your truck, sir. Now, that's an astronomical value that I just threw on that. I'm not looking at a truck that I'm going to paint, a 1995 truck, but they're giving you this highball price because they want you to leave. They don't want you to paint. They don't want to paint your car, and that's basically the situation. They would rather do a bumper job, okay? Not on this car, but a rubber bumper. They would rather paint a rubber bumper for $250, get it out of their shop, than work on your car, your 95 Chevy truck or your Dodge. They would rather do that. And if you're gullible enough to pay the $14,000 or $12,000 or $10,000 that they say, then they're going to do it. Now, there's another situation, a stipulation we have about shops that will say they will paint your old car or your old truck, is that the first thing they want is money up front. Am I right, Minnie?
Yeah.
So
that's a big red flag, people.
When they ask for money up front, and you see a shop like mine, let's say, for instance, and they already got cars and they're working on them, that's a red flag, like Minnie said, because they're going to take money out of your pocket, you're going to leave your car at their shop, you're going to come back in 2 or 3 months, and they haven't done nothing to your car. It's sitting over in the corner, it's got boxes stacked on top of it, it's got dust and trash all over it, because it has now turned into a personal storage unit for them to store your stuff. But they're going to give you the line that says, we're getting ready to get on your car. We just got done with this one, and this one's ready to paint. Yours is next. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to walk around, and we're going to look at a couple cars, and I'm going to kind of speculate and give you an idea how much it would cost to paint that car. And what we got a 1967 Camaro. Now, this was a one-owner Camaro from Texas. There was minimal rust in it. When I say minimal rust, it's basically only this quarter panel right here. And it got into a collision at one time, and somebody cut it off here and replaced the corner. So I went ahead and replaced the whole quarter panel instead of just the corner. And then we had some rust repair over on the other side as well, which was in this area right here. The floors were in very good shape. You can see that right there. There's no rust. It's got the original paint on the floors. The doors are solid, and you can see, look at that. Did you see how that shut? Yep. So this is a really, really clean car. But we can't really talk about doing a paint job only on this car because we're doing a lot more to this car than a paint job.
And that's what people don't realize. It's never just a paint job.
We're doing a full suspension package and drivetrain on this. We're doing a full interior job on this car.
The rust repair.
We've done rust repair.
That's not part of the paint job.
Rust repair is totally separate from painting.
So is interior work. So is pretty much everything else.
Okay. So that's where you kind of get confused and say, how much is it to paint my car, guy? Paint and body shop guy that you own a shop and I need my car painted.
And then they give you a price of, say, example.
Now this is an example.
Example, $7,000. But then at the end of your job, you ended up spending $25,000. That's because you got 2 brand new quarter panels, all the rust repair, brand new interior, brand new rubber.
What about the chrome? Yeah, we got chrome. We got rubber seals.
Rubber.
Okay.
I mean, you know.
And then you tell yourself, hold on. You told me in the beginning it was $7,000. Yes, it was.
For the paint.
It was $7,000 to paint your car.
But there was a lot more.
All right, that does not include everything else.
To get it to the point where it could even be.
Rust repair is separate charges, people.
Always separate charge.
Okay, depending on what the shop charges per hour. That's a per hour situation. Okay, so you can spend on this vehicle right here to literally have it painted and let's say drive out of the shop. Okay, because that's where people get confused. I want my car painted, guy. Paint and body shop guy. No, you don't want your car painted. You want your car restored. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it does to me, but it doesn't to a lot of people out there because they're thinking a paint job. Well, how much to paint my car? We tell them $7,000, but then they don't realize that they got holes in the floor of their car, and
big holes.
The whole floor has to be
replaced. The whole floor has to be replaced.
You know, they got
over here. We're on the Camaro right now, please. Please focus on one car at a time, sir. I mean, ma'am.
Okay. New trim work.
Okay.
All
everything.
around the windows.
We basically got the situation here going. Minnie, the body shop girl, thank you. What we got, when we look at this car, if Minnie could stand but kind of get an angle on it, we got the cardboard on it. Okay, what we got here on this car to restore this car, because we're past paint jobs now. There's no paint job involved here, sir. The paint job is included in the restoration.
No, it is not included.
But what I'm saying is by the time you get done, the price of the paint job is included in the restoration. You're looking at $30,000.
You can buy a brand new car for that. Brand spanking new. Brand new. Brand new. Okay. Warranty.
And we're not talking a Harley Davidson motorcycle here.
We're not talking about motorcycles.
All right.
Or you could buy something fun.
Okay, so what we got here, we got a restoration job. Okay, and what we've done to this car, we've completely restored it. This is a turnkey restoration. So you can't look at a car like this and saying, I'm painting it. Guy, paint and body shop, dude, I want it painted. You can't do that. This guy will have $30,000 in this car. That does not include the shipping costs to go to Europe. Okay, so we're off on that car. Thank you very much, Camaro. Let's get on to this baby here. Okay, this is where you get into guys that are specialists, quote unquote. This is a K code.
Everybody's a specialist when they own a
muscle car. Okay, don't touch that fender. It's a K code. No, it's not. It's an S code. No, it's a J code. You see what I'm saying? So, how much are we going to charge on that specialty car? Body shop guy, since it's a specialty car.
Same price as every other. If you ain't got the money, we're going to sell it to somebody else that does have the money, buddy.
I'm sorry, I was lost there. Why did you say that?
Because people end up not having the money to finish the jobs because they don't realize that a paint job is really a domino effect situation. When you want to repaint your car, then you've got to do a whole lot of
Like
other...
what? What are we talking about here? We were talking about the Camaro. Let's talk about the...
Okay, dents. Little dents. There's little
Okay,
dents.
but that's part of the paint job. What else?
Now we're going to have new glass because the windshield had a crash.
Scratched.
It was, yeah,
It's all scratched and yeah. Chrome.
Look at this. Look how
Okay, so we're going back into basically the Camaro job.
it looks so terrible. And look at this rubber. That is going to start. It's brittle.
Right.
Look at this. Yeah.
And rust repair.
Yeah.
Okay, quarter panel sections replaced. We had floors replaced in this
New
car.
plastic for the lenses.
Okay,
New emblems.
right.
New door handles. New door rubber.
Well, you know one thing you forgot to mention? Stripping it down to bare metal.
There you go. It's a domino
So
effect.
let's say that he brings the car in. Our charge, now this is astronomically, okay, a ridiculous price. Let's just say, whether it's high or low, let's just say we charge him $7,000
For what?
to paint the car.
Paint the car?
Okay, that only includes body work and painting, color sand and buffing. Now that would include inside and out.
Right.
Now hold on a minute.
But that doesn't
Hold on a second. Let me explain this to you. This is a specialty K-code car. Watch this. My friend Pete, my doors are not painted the same color as the outside. They're black, okay? My dash is black too. Guess what? You just got $1,000 charge for that. I got to paint two-tone paint,
That's
sir.
an extra charge, yes.
Extra charge. But that's how it came from the factory. It's a K-code. I don't give a shit. It's extra because I'm painting two-tone and it's got to be that specific K-code matching situation, sir.
And when it's a two-tone color car, that means 2 days. Because you can't paint both colors.
Actually, it's more than 2 days, but yeah, it's a 2-day paint job.
You can't paint both colors on the same day.
Speaking of 2-day paint job, to paint this car will literally actually take a week just to lay the paint down. Okay? And the reason for that is we got to paint the car inside and out. How much is he actually going to spend on this car? Let's just, okay, let's go ahead and, get down to the skinny on this. To completely paint this car inside and out, the customer of this car will have over $10,000 in paint and body shop work. Am I right?
Yeah, which really isn't enough because Pete gives Buddy deals, but yeah.
So let's say astronomically, this is a $10,000 paint job.
Ought to be.
And the reason I say it's only $10,000 is because these are all original body panels and the panels are in very good shape. There's no aftermarket stuff on this. The only thing that has been repaired on it is these lower quarters,
And they did shit work.
which were done in a shitty situation, and I have to go back and repair them. And speaking of that, that's an extra charge as well, when you have to go back on somebody else's work to fix their situation.
Body work in itself entails only dents and dings, not
Rust repair.
refixing other repair shops screw up.
Now you might find a shop that will include that, but not at this shop. And any professional shop that will do your car for you will not include it as well. Let's move down the line. We got two more cars to look at real quick. So then we get in to the situation of the guy that bought the car on the internet. It's a classic car. It's worth a lot of money. I spent a lot of money buying this car, Pete. Well, guess what, jerk? It's a rotted rust bucket. It's not even worth keeping.
Somebody poked a finger in your eye.
You need to go back into my videos on YouTube channel, My Friend Pete. I'll put a link to that video of this car, what we had to do to it. We don't have time to go through it all. You need to watch that video and see how screwed this guy got by buying this car on the internet, sight unseen. We have replaced so much body panels on this that I can't even imagine why he wanted to restore this car.
He wanted to restore.
I'm still oblivious by the situation that he restored this car when he could have bought one for one-third the cost.
It because it has a moonroof.
Well, it has personal issues that go with the car as well. We won't go to get into that, but the situation is he's restoring this car. Now we're looking at this car and you say, I want my car painted. This is another situation that says it ain't gonna be just painted. We have done extreme total restoration. This was on a rotisserie for a year. Okay? To paint this car, just in the paint work on this car, now this includes the rust, he will have $33,000 in that. And one more thing I want to go ahead and explain to everybody. When I give you these prices, that doesn't mean I'm making that much money. And that's where it comes in where Minnie said, people don't understand. Those floor pans cost, okay, are you sitting down? Those floor pans were like $3,000 a piece. The rocker panels were shipped from Germany. Figure it out. It took a year and a half, almost 2 years, to find this full quarter panel from Germany. So when you ask, how much is it to paint my car? It all depends on what kind of car you have and what kind of damage you have.
Exactly. And most of the damage is going to be hidden and not going to be known until the car is stripped down.
There you go. Minnie just made another good point. You drive your car to my shop. You say, hey, body shop guy, dude, look at my car. I want it repainted, okay? I don't give a price on your classic antique car until it's gutted out and stripped down. Why? Why aren't you doing that? Because I got to see how much rust is on your car. I got to see how much Bondo is in your door where it got hit right here. If you are not willing to do that, you're wasting my time and yours. To paint a classic car, you have got to go to the extreme to say, I am willing to gut it out and strip it down to bare metal to find out how much it's going to cost me to restore that car. But before you do that, you got to find a shop that you can put your trust into, that they don't rip you off in between. And that's the hardest point and the hardest part of actually asking yourself, how much is it to paint my car? The final and last car we're going to look at, and here's part of it right here. Did I mention yellow paint?
Yes, you did.
What we got here is a 1970 Plymouth convertible roadrunner. Now this is not a specialty number matching vehicle, but it is a classic car and it's worth a lot of money due to the fact that it's a convertible and it is a Plymouth roadrunner. This was a junkyard car. This was not a driving car. This sat in a field on the ground, and when I say on the ground, it was buried up to the rockers for over 15 years. So this, like the Mercedes, had a lot of work that had to be done to it. The owner also insisted that he uses factory sheet metal. The sheet metal that he brought us, and I'm talking about the doors and the fenders, were total trash. Am I right?
Yep.
It took extensive body work and hammer and dolling and shrinking discs and everything else to get these where they're at right now. This paint job that you're looking at right here Okay? And one more thing. Here's what we're talking about by extensive 3, 4, 5 day paint jobs. I have to repaint these. Where you're looking at them, probably you're saying, those look beautiful. Why would you repaint them? If Minnie could get the camera up in there, do you see that? Can you see where it looks like it's greenish? That's because the paint didn't get inside there. That's got 4 coats of yellow paint on it. Remember when I told you red is the most expensive, but on the other hand, yellow is one of the hardest to paint? There's another reason that you can say, how much is it to paint my car? Color makes a big difference. I have to repaint these because this goes on the car, this is a tail light cover. If you put that on a car,
look where his little finger is.
Look inside there, you can see a shadow. It's just...
That's because there's not enough paint. The paint didn't cover.
There's not enough paint, it didn't cover, and I have to repaint those. Everything on a classic car is basically painted inside and out, and then everything's bolted together and painted in one, or you paint them separately. Here's another reason why it costs money to paint a car. Look over here. See that thing hanging on the wall there? That's a specialty tool designed for painting doors and fenders. It's called a body tree. Body parts tree. You hang your parts on there and you paint them inside and out. So, the answer to everybody's question, how much is it to paint my car, body shop guy dude? It all depends on what kind of car you have and what kind of body shop you actually deal with.
And how much damage there is that needs to be repaired.
Basically, what kind of car you have, what kind of damage you have, and what kind of shop you're dealing with. If you're dealing with a shop that has 20 employees and their building is 10 times the size of mine, and they got frame machines and they got 3 air compressors and all this other shit going, you're going to spend a lot of money getting your car painted there.
Overhead.
They have a lot of overhead. Versus bringing it to a shop like mine, all right? Now this is where you get into the situation, well, I want my car next month. Well, it ain't gonna happen at my friend Pete's, I'm sorry. But I can guarantee you this at my friend Pete's, I'm the only one that's gonna work on that car besides Manny, the body shop girl, taping it off and block sanding. Whereas you take it to Mr. Mega Body Shop and you're paying them $30,000 to do it, you got 37 different hands touching it and working on it.
And most of them are kids out of high school that's never
Kids out of high school.
a car in their life.
Exactly. Another thing about these big shops, I'm going to let you know, is that they use a thing called spray-on Bondo. Since they have 25 employees, they have 50 hands that can get on that car and block sand it. And what they do is they spray this Bondo on your vehicle. It's thick. It's about that thick. See that? And they put 3 or 4 coats at it, and then they get about 10 guys on that car, and they block sand that thing down. And all these cars that you see that are super duper, super clean show cars that don't even have a wave in them, they're straight as a razor blade, are Bondo, spray-on Bondo filled vehicles. There's nothing else I can say. I basically explained to you about painting cars. We're getting ready to paint this, means getting ready to wipe this down with a wipe ball, get all the dust off.
Well,
and this car will be done.
I gotta tape it off first.
This paint job, to do this paint job, this does not include rust repair, which was extensive, full floors, quarter panels, tail light panels, trunk floors, rocker panels. The paint job on this car, I'm gonna go ahead and let you know, all right? And this was to do the body work, prime it, paint it, inside and out. You can see, look here, this is all inside and out. At my shop was $7,000. And that's all I'm doing to this car. Once it's painted, we're going to haul this back to Texas, and the owner will finish it out himself.
We're not putting not one.
No wires, no nothing, no motors, transmissions.
The hood and the deck lid.
The hood and the deck lid. The only thing going to be bolted back on there, and we're done.
Yeah.
And I went ahead and threw in he asked me, can you go ahead and put the black stripe on there? And I went ahead and threw that in because this guy here is actually a friend's son. I hope everything that I have told you about how much it is to paint a car got through to your head. If you're looking at this video and you're saying, well, I got a 2008 Mazda and I want it painted. At least, look at least $5 grand. 5,000 is where they're going to start. That's going to be a starting point
And that's for the
on
same,
any paint job.
That's for the same color, only on the outside of the car.
That's only outside, that's not door jams and stuff. So if you got a late model car and you're looking to get it painted, minimum $5 grand. And I'm saying $5 grand because you're going to probably leave a comment and say, well, I can go to Earl Shives or I can go to Mako and get it for $300. Then do it.
There's something else too I need to tell you. Okay.
Minnie's going to finish this up. It's getting a little long here.
What he was just talking about, if you're painting like a 2010 or whatever.
Yeah, a new vehicle.
Yeah, you got to go the same color because if you change the color, then you got to paint the inside. Because when you open the door, the inside's going to be a different color.
Wow, what do we got here? Look at that.
Yeah, see,
That's a different color.
that's what color it used to be, see? So you can't just change the color of the car and expect them to paint the inside and the outside for one price because
So it all depends on what you're going to do. Price goes up. Minimum charge, I'm going to say, is speculation of $5,000.
That's for the outside
and
only.
that's at a reputable body shop that's not going to screw you around.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah, for the outside only and not changing the color
Right.
and very, very, very minimal body damage like
So
dings. And
there you
things.
go. This is Pete, my friend Pete, your friend Pete. We got Minnie's Body Shop Girl trying to explain it to you, telling you what it takes to paint a car and how much it's going to cost you to get that car painted. And always remember, if you got a pickup truck, it's going to cost more. Pickup trucks are harder to work on. They're bigger, they're bulkier, and they're just a pain in the ass. Am I right?
Yeah, remember this phrase, domino effect.
One more phrase I'd like to show everybody, if Minnie can agree with me here, is that right there.
Thanks for watching D.I.Y. Automotive School. Classes don't stop till you know everything.